Hello out there, Mama Trip coming at you with another video. This one's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be very chatty, and it's going to be in 3 parts. So because of all of the rapid price increases over the last couple of years, I thought that I would do some videos purely dedicated to my preloved collection and how I buy preloved items. And price is only one consideration when I buy pre-loved, but it is a very large one. And so I'm kind of guessing that there might be other people out there who are also, because of the price increases, going to move towards looking more and more to the pre-loved market to purchase their luxury goods and luxury items. And so I wanted to talk about my experiences and the specific items that I have purchased and how they're doing and how I like them and things like that. So the first video is going to be just a general overview of the 3 kind of companies that I've used so far. So the RealReal, fashionphile, and rebag, and my experiences with them, whether I still purchase from them, and just all about those 3 things. The next video is going to be about the main reasons why I buy pre-loved, and I've bought pre-loved for a very long time. As soon as I discovered that there was such a thing as the pre-loved market, I started to look into it right away. And again, not only because of the money that you save, but for all the reasons I'm going to go into, with things like things you can't buy anymore. So it's not just because things might be a better deal. And the third video is going to go into the quality. When they say, excellent condition, very good condition, I've kind of bought the range of those items, and I'll show you exactly how the item came and what it looks like, so you can kind of be prepared more, judge more for yourself whether you would be willing to accept something that's more very good, or if you're going to be only focused on getting excellent to new quality items, kind of based on hopefully what you see in the items that I have purchased. Will help you make that decision, especially because you can't always return these things. Okay, so that takes me to the first part 1, the 3 companies that I have purchased from before. And again, RealReal, fashionphile, and rebag. And I have the most experience with fashionphile, but the very first company that I did try was the RealReal. And I only have 2 items left from the RealReal, and it is my, I call it my granny bag, but it is this vintage Chanel. It's older than me. It's vintage Chanel, and it's this kiss lock top handle little bag, and my Givenchy Nightingale in the back. So I went over these bags, kind of showing you what they look like in more detail in my previous video, so I won't do that today. But I used to have a few others from the RealReal. I used to have another Givenchy Nightingale in brown. I also had a large Givenchy Pandora, which was very influenced by Kate Beckinsale, and she always carries that really beautiful large Pandora, the soft Pandora. And I think, yeah, those 2. And then the third one that I had was a Balenciaga and a city bag. And the 4th bag that I had was a Chanel seasonal flap. So I no longer purchase from the RealReal. I've left them behind because I had a particularly bad experience with that Chanel flap bag. So just an introduction to the RealReal. They probably have the biggest stock, and they probably were one of the first to kind of emerge as one of these big companies selling, like nationwide, globally, and very organized into the pre-loved market. And they have probably the most expansive amount of brands. So not just the like ultra high luxury Birkin, Chanel, like those kinds of things, but they also have Kate Spade, the Longchamp, Marc Jacobs. So they have a very wide variety, and they have, I feel like, the widest variety of accessories too. So like shoes and scarves and those things. So they have that going for them. But some of the reasons why I no longer purchase from them anymore is one, their website's not easy to navigate. You have to sign in every time just to browse. So they don't even let you look at their website unless you sign into them, which is not, I know it's not a huge cumbersome thing to do, but why? Why do this? And you can easily sign in with like your Google sign in or Facebook sign in. But when you do that, the RealReal actually gets that information. So Google or Facebook kind of share the information that they have about you with the company that you're using the login for. And you can change that in your settings, but it's not a like a opt-in situation, it's an opt-out situation, or at least that's what I was told by Google when a company that I used a Google sign in for tried to, I think, get more information from my Google, and then Google alerted me to it. And so they showed me how to kind of go to my settings and turn that off, that option. And so, yeah, so that part, it's not a big deal, not a huge thing, but it is different than the other websites. The second thing, and probably one of the biggest reasons that I wouldn't consider going back to them, is that they have no return policy, or that their return policy is you cannot return. It's all sales final. So no matter what the condition is when it arrives, what the item is when it arrives, you can't return this. And that kind of moves me to my negative experience with them. And it was with the Chanel seasonal flap. It was black. It was in just kind of good condition, so kind of the very lowest tier of their condition items. So the corners were completely worn through in some parts, the leather. And I saw this before I purchased the item, so it wasn't the condition that it came in, but when it arrived and I put my hands on it, there's a certain quality with these bags, right? That when you touch them, they feel luxurious. Like you can feel the quality of the leather that they use, the craftsmanship, the weight, the hardware, right? So they don't just look luxurious. It's not just about how they look, but they feel luxurious. They're tactilely satisfying to hold and to touch. This felt very thin. It felt very light. It felt very, I don't want to use the word cheap, because I don't like kind of saying that things feel cheap, because what is cheap to you can be out of reach for someone else. But it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like the original person spent $3,000 on this bag and I had spent $1,500 on this bag worth of, product. And so I had it looked at by some of the online authenticators that are out there, and I got very mixed reviews. One said that maybe it looks pretty close at least, and then some couple others where I questioned the authenticity of this. And actually, I wore it into a Chanel boutique, and I almost got the nerve to ask the sales associate there to take a look at it, but I have read online that if they find that your bag is not authentic, then in some places, or I guess maybe the rules are supposed to be that they take it from you and destroy it. So I didn't quite go that far, but I did send feedback back to the RealReal saying, hey, I have professional authenticators that are saying that this is not authentic, or questioning the authenticity of this. I would very much like to at least be able to exchange it for another item. Like, not even asking for a complete refund, but just, I want to send this item back to you. And of course, it's just complete no. They have their own in-house authenticators. They have said that this is authentic and that's the final word. And so even if you get the company, so like Louis Vuitton says this is not real, they don't care, because they have their own staff that they believe in, and if it's real to them, then it's just real. There's nothing you can do about it. And so because of that situation where I questioned the authenticity of something that I purchased there, and their return policy it's just not worth it to me anymore to spend that kind of money there. And so I no longer purchase from the RealReal. The selling to the RealReal, I have not sold anything that is more than $1,000 to the RealReal. So I've sold some Kate Spade back there and Marc Jacobs and Tory Burch, but only because I only work with the RealReal now to sell those things, because that's the only place besides eBay and some other places that I can sell those kinds of items to, but they make it very easy because I can just print a label and then send it to them in a box, and they pay for the shipping. So I do appreciate that part of the RealReal, but I will no longer purchase from the RealReal. And that leads me to fashionphile, which is where the great majority of these bags came from. So this Dior here, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, and then this Chanel right here. And then my two SLGs that I have pre-loved are also from the RealReal. And that's my multicolor cosmetic pouch from Louis Vuitton and this Balenciaga zip coin purse, which is just so adorable with the giant hardware. So one of the things I love, probably the thing that I love the most about fashionphile, is their return policy. So it's 30 days from the delivery date, I believe it's the delivery date of your item. So you actually get to sit with it. You get to see it. You get to check it out, make sure that it's in the state that they said it was. It's to your liking. It's an item that goes with your wardrobe and your style. It fits what you need it to fit. You can put it on your body and see how it looks. And if you don't like it or don't agree with the condition it came in, you just print the label and send it back. And it's really that simple. And so I left this on here so I can show you guys. And I'm sure there's been hundreds of thousands of videos with this. But they put this tag on here and they put it somewhere, you can't just easily hide it and use the item. And it has this guy, right? So snip the tag to make this beauty yours. No returns once removed. So you just keep this guy on here. And this is their certificate of authenticity. You keep this guy on here and you kind of sit around with it, feel it out, and play it with it inside your house. And then you like it, you cut it off, keep it forever, or sell it back later. Or if you don't like it, you just send it back within the 30-day period. And that's it. So I love that about fashionphile. It's the best return policy that I've seen out there so far. And the other thing that I like about fashionphile is that they seem pretty reasonable in their pricing. And when I say that, I mean, of course, right now, the bum bags are like over $1,000 above retail. But I feel like they do this on purpose. Once in a while, they like throw us a bone. They'll put up an item that is popular and they'll put it at a pretty good price to make you feel like you can still get a deal at fashionphile. So for instance, this jumbo, so I have 3 jumbos and 2 of them are pre-loved. So this one, the double flap in the lambskin, and this single flap in the caviar, both silver hardware. Now, I have never paid more than $5,000 for a jumbo, and I have 3 of them. So that tells you how old my new from boutique is, because I bought it for less than $5,000. Although with the price increase in the last 2 years, it's really only a couple years old. But this guy was just under $5,000, and then this one was $4,000. And the condition of this one is amazing. The condition of this one, I would say, is not amazing, but it's more than acceptable to me for the age that this is. And the way that I got them under 5,000, because if you look, most days, most of the classic flaps, even the jumbos, which aren't as popular right now, are gonna be above $6,000. But once in a while they do price one that's pretty good, and 2, the longer it is on the website, the more discounted it becomes. And this isn't unique to fashionphile, but it usually you can get something for at least 5-10% off what they listed it for, unless it's insanely popular and people just keep buying it as soon as it pops up on the website. So that's something I really like about fashionphile, that you can actually still hunt on that website. And I don't know about anyone else out there, but hunting for a good deal is is pretty fun to me, so Black Friday, that is my, that's like my jam right there. Black Friday is my Everest. I look forward to it every year. I love the deal finding. I love, seeing how it compares all year to all the normal yearly sales that come out to see if I did score the best possible thing on Black Friday. I don't know. I don't know if it's like a sickness or an addiction to shopping, but I really enjoy Black Friday, especially when it used to be in person. Oh my gosh, I loved being with the thousands of other people physically hunting for the best deal on every product, which is, I know, you have to be not afraid of crowds, not claustrophobic, not agoraphobic, all those things. But I really enjoyed that. I don't know what that says about me, but it was fun. Okay, and then there's not too many things I don't like about fashionphile. There is one thing that did happen, and it's with this backpack. So I did purchase that one, and in the description it did tell me that the person had it, refurbished, remade, kind of repaired. And so it actually made me want the item more because it is a vintage backpack. And if someone already had it repaired, that's great. I don't have to pay for the repair. I can get a vintage item that has like new quality to it. But when I didn't necessarily mean to sell it back, but I do like to check the like kind of pricing of how much they would offer for these bags back, or just to sell it back to see kind of what the market is like. And when I sent the pictures back of this guy, they said that they would not take this back because it had been repaired. And that kind of leaves a sour taste in my mouth because they won't buy something in the quality that I bought it in. And it also made no sense to me because they purchased this from the person who had it repaired. So they purchased it already from someone in the quality of being repaired, and yet they're telling me they won't buy it from me because it had been altered. So I don't know. Again, it's not like a terrible experience. I didn't mean to sell back the bag, but I was a little bit surprised at what they were telling me, especially because it didn't make any sense. But I really love the return policy. Oh, and a caveat to the return policy, though, is that you can't just keep purchasing and returning. They do look at a 6-month period, and if you returned more than 70% of what you purchased, they do start giving you a 10% restocking fee. So keep that in mind. You can't just buy and then, just have an open door like that. Revolving door situation. Okay, the third one, rebag. So I only have one purchase from rebag, and it's this one, my small urban spirit from the Cuba collection, which I love. And the story behind this one is that I had another Chanel backpack, and it was the same thing. It was the flap with the drawstring closure, and it wasn't an urban spirit. It was a seasonal backpack, and I loved the look of it, and it was larger, it fit more, but the straps drove me nuts. They were so uncomfortable. I couldn't use it. I used it just a few times, and every time I regretted using the bag. And so it just sat there, and having spent over $3,000 for that bag, it just made me so sad that it was just sitting there, and I couldn't even use it if I wanted to because it was so annoying and cumbersome to use. So I decided I'm gonna try to sell it. And so I sent it first to fashionphile, and they're usually known to have one of the best price quotes, but I was very disappointed. One, because it was Chanel, and two, I thought the Chanel would kind of carry a bigger resale value, but it was less than 50% of what I bought it for. So I was sad, and it made me hesitate about selling it. But even less than 50% is still something rather than the literal nothing that I'm getting from it on my shelf. And so I did consider, but then I was like, hey, I should at least get one more quote somewhere before I decide this. So I'd never done anything with rebag before. I'd never even been on their website, but I kind of heard some good things about them, not in terms of how much they buy for, but just their website in general. So I went to take a look, and I sent them pictures, and their initial quote was a couple $100 above fashionphile, which just puts me above 50%, but still it was better. And then I sat on it for a couple of days, and then I got an email from Rebag saying that, to entice me more, they're going to, bump it up a couple $100 more. But at the bottom of the email, they said, hey, have you considered our trade program? It's called like Claire Trade, where if you choose to trade your item for something that we have on the website, then we give you a substantial amount more. And it actually brought me to almost 2/3 of what I bought the original backpack for. And so I went on the website to take a look because I was like, oh, that's a great deal. And I found this guy. And if I traded the backpack in, it would only be like $200 in addition to the trade. And I thought, okay, so I get a backpack that's in almost brand new condition, in a colorway and a style and a size that I love. I'll probably use this bag because of how much easier it will be to use. And I only have to pay like $200 in addition. That seemed like a great deal to me because I got more than half of what I paid for the first bag, and I get a functional backpack out of it, and I don't have to pay too much more to get a almost new like condition Chanel backpack that I don't already have. And so that experience was really great to me. I enjoyed it very much, and I also enjoy the fact that I don't have to send them pictures of everything I want to sell to them. You can just like click a bunch of buttons on this like Claire software that they have, and then they just spit you a quote out based on what your item is, the color it is, and what condition it is. So super easy to use the rebag resell situation. They are supposed to be known to be less than fashionphile, but I have traded 3 items so far, and it came out more to what fashionphile quoted me. So that's, I don't know if they're changing, or fashionphile is changing, or rebag's trying to be more competitive, but that's my experience so far. And I hope that was at least a little bit helpful in navigating those 3 websites. I feel like they get talked about a lot. I have not used anything like Yogi's Closet or a private reseller, eBay. I will never ever go do eBay because of their policy of always choosing the consumer. And so if or like their policy of kind of not intervening. So if someone sells you a fake bag, they won't, intervene for you. Or if you sell something and someone, cheats you somehow, they won't intervene. So it's really just one-on-one and there's no protection there. So I won't do that. And then is it Estier Collective? I don't want to do either because they're kind of like a fancy eBay or almost like an Amazon for luxury items. So there's a 14-day return policy, but only if it's from a major vendor. If it's from an individual seller, then it's all sales final. So I really look at the return policy because for the amount that we spend on these things, you should at least get to hold it in your hands and check it out and look at it and make sure it looks decent on your body type at the very least, I feel. And so it's really just rebag and fashionphile that I am considering right now. Anyone out there have really great experiences with something that I haven't mentioned? Because I'm very, very open to looking at different options on the resale market. So, and anyone have really bad experiences with the 3 that I've mentioned, also please share down below, because it's always good to learn from other people's experiences as we navigate this blossoming and kind of newish territory of preloved, and how more and more of us are going to be pushed towards it because of all the price increases. Yeah, so I hope you liked part 1 of my preloved series, and don't forget to join the fam by hitting that subscribe button, giving us a thumbs up, and again, leave some comments down below. I love talking to you guys. Okay, see you in the next one.